we're recording. Welcome back. What's the intro? Simsy. Welcome back, Sim Nation. All right, what you have here. All right, shh, quiet now. There's my cats in the background. What we have now is pick the red one. Red changes. You click on blue, and we're going to show you now how to go from one form to another. So now that you've created a second form, hopefully you've called it question 2. Remember the name of your form, question2.vb. Major problem here, don't put spaces in any of your names. Anytime you're naming anything, don't put any spaces. If you really feel like you have to, then put an underscore as a break, but no spaces. All right, so remember that my form is called question 2. Whatever your second form is called, that's up to you, but you're going to need to refer to that form by that name later on. So if I go back to form 1, when I click my blue button, it is now going to go to form 2. 2 lines of code to do that. Very, very simple. me.hide question2.show. Don't write the name of your form here. You'll get an error with a little red line. Use me.hide, and question 2 is the name of the form that you want to go to. me.hide question2.show. You might see some other tutorials that do it another way, like this down here, me.close rather than .hide. That still works. But for now, let's just look at .hide, and I'll talk about .close another time. You'll notice that this code here will take me to the fail form. So me.hide question2.show. Sorry, my cats are going crazy right now. So my cats are talking to me. What the heck am I doing making YouTube videos? That was the chat. So let's go back to me.hide question2.show. So obviously, if you click on the wrong question, this is going to help you bring up the fail form. me.close or me.hide for now. Forget close for now. me.hide fail.show will hide the current form and bring up the other one. Now, if it brings up the other one and the next form is in a different location, remember, go back to the previous video, set the form options to what you want to set it to, and then you can do that. So let's have a quick look at how this works. So if I pick the blue one, it will now run this code, me.hide. The form hides, and question 2, which is this second form, now appears. Now, if I go to my question 2 code on the side here, and I bring this up, let's have a quick look. So right now, I've got a couple things going on in question 2. That's, by the way, that's as simple as it is to go between forms. And if you make them appear in the same place, then they'll always appear in the same place if you use those form options correctly. Now, in question 2, I've got a couple of other things going. I just chucked in these random picture boxes, and I didn't name them. I just did it very quickly. Forgive me. This guy here is called picture box 1, which is me.close. This guy here is picture box 2, I believe, or picture box 3, which is me.hide. Now let's see what happens if I do that. If I click this one, it closes that form rather than hides it, and fail pops up. Now, this is another weird, cool little thing that you can do. I can achieve the same thing by saying me.close and then writing another. Actually, let me just stop that executing. I could write another one if I wanted my fail form to pop up and say a fail.show, and that would work. Me.close fail.show, but I'm bypassing that second line by doing this. I've created a new private sub with a event for my form. So you'll notice that these two subs here are now linked, because When I close this form, I have a sub here. I'm going to change color. I have a sub here in orange that will only run, question 2 is the name of the form, will only run when that form is now in the process of closing. So before it closes, it's going to run whatever else is in here. For example, like if you wanted to save some data or something like that, save a user input before the form closes, save a counter where you're up to or something like that, you could do that, for example. So me.close runs, and then as that's running before the form closes, it actually jumps to here and then does fail.show. So that's another way of, now I only have to do fail.show in one place rather than doubling up on those 2 lines, me.close, fail.show, every single button that is incorrect. Will that work on hide? Let me just double check. So if we go to picture box 2, and now this one says me.hide, I don't think it will run this because it's not actually closing. That's correct. See, so now that's actually useful. Okay, so the hide function will then hide the form, but it won't execute this sub because the form isn't actually closing. It's just not visible. It's hidden now. So there's different ways that you can use both those tools. You can use something if you wanted to make it hide but not close entirely. But if you want, if for example, if you got something wrong, you might want to use the .close function with the form closing event in order to do that. Now let me show you how to do the form closing event. That's very useful. So if I just delete this, and I'll show you exactly how I wrote that. And I'll just delete this little sub here. I'll show you how I wrote that. Okay, so here's my 2 subs for the 2 objects. And if I come down here to my design mode, I could double click my form. Yeah, okay, that's strange. So I double click my form and it takes me to question2.load, which is the default, load is the default event for a form. It's basically the load function runs whatever code is in there before the form is actually seen or loaded. But we're doing the opposite. We want to do it so it does something as the form is closing. So all I could do is just come up here, and you'll notice that up here I have load and this little lightning bolt as an event. So I can come down here and change the actual event, and you'll see a whole bunch of different events that you can now play with and muck around with. Different things like a disposed, me.dispose is another thing that's different from close, but we won't focus on that right now. When something's double clicked, for example. What else? Font changed, enter, got focus means you've now clicked on that form. You might want to do something when you actually click on that form. For example, you might want to have a form grayed out until you click on it, and then it kind of brightens up or something like that. Again, lots of different things. Mouse leave, mouse hover is a useful one. Resize, which won't work because we've locked our forms down. But there's lots of different there's lots of different events for your different objects there. Every object obviously is going to have different events that are then tied to that object, or different behaviors that are then tied to that object. Some things are clickable, like a picture box or a button or something like that. Not everything is going to have a click event. Anyway, so for what we want to do now is question 2 underscore closing, form closing. And you'll notice that once I click on that event, it now makes a new private sub. This sub will only run when this form is in the process of form closing. So it won't happen on a hide event, but it will happen on a close event. So for example, picture box 1, let's just make this really clear. picture box 1 is my dark orange box, and you'll notice it's you'll notice it's called picture box 1 there. It's a dark orange box. When I double click on that, it will run this code, which is me.close, which will close the current form, me being the current form.close. And it will close that, but in the process of closing that, it will then come down to here and run this sub before it closes everything. Question 2, form closing. So for example, what we can do now is now say fail dot show. I'll show you exactly what happens if I cut and paste that line. So if I take that line out and now I go to question 2 and I click on the orange box, it'll just close the form. Nothing happens, bye-bye. But now if I come here and I add that line, fail.show, you'll notice that before it closes the form, it will close the form and then it will also open fail.show. Fantastic. And now I've got restart or quit, and you've got your fail form. So that's forms, that's flipping between forms. I've shown you how to change a couple of events in different forms. Play with different events and different things that will work. Again, any questions, you could chuck any of these events with the word form closing and vb.net into Google, YouTube, something like that, and someone will give you a tutorial on how to do each specific event. We don't have time to do all of that right now, and you don't have a need to do all of the different events right now. But if there's an event that you're playing with and you don't know exactly how it works, then please do that. That's all I have for this video with forms, flipping between forms and different form events. We're going to come back with a couple of other little things, variables, if statements, and then moving towards timers, and that should wrap us up for the series.